Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moonride. I'm here with Kirsten Langston for our show about keeping positive spiritual friends and their advice. Welcome, Kirsten. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm terrific. Yeah. What's new?
What's new? There's not a whole bunch new and exciting right now. I'm
Yeah.
pretty chill because, well, you're in what? You're going to be going into your winter, right? In
We
Australia.
are already in the winter. I got the
You're already in your winter. Yeah.
yes.
So for my summer, it's usually kind of chill time, and then I start really getting going hard again in like August and September. But I'm
Uh-huh.
getting into my month where like a couple of months where I'm like very, very relaxed and chill. I just did Rasputin Drunk Tarot, and it was illuminating. It
What's
was
rest? What is?
I well, so I do a show called Drunk Tarot where I have a couple of sips of champagne, and then it's the only way I'm comfortable doing mediumship. And then I start talking to famous dead people, more or less, um,
Wow.
reading on them. Yeah. So our last one was Rasputin, the mad monk, right, in Russia, who
Right.
they say he was unkillable. Um, I really thought because he's supposed to be like this crazy, loony guy, and he was doing all this nutty stuff. He was apparently sleeping with everybody. Guy comes through and he is like, well, he's a little sketch. He's definitely a creeper, but he actually had a lot of interesting sort of spiritual stuff to say that was kind of on the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, once you get to the other side, it's kind of like you have a different perspective of the universe, I presume.
yeah. It's really interesting. He was a legitimate psychic. This guy, it's documented, which they don't really talk about.
They
They say
don't.
he always a fake healer. He fake healed the Tsar's son and all this stuff, but there are instances. The man predicted the fall of the Tsars. He told Tsar Nicholas, he's like, "You're in trouble, buddy." He got ignored. He predicted the death of several people. He predicted his own death just about a month before it happened to his
Wow.
family. Wrote it in a letter.
Wow. Yeah, nobody ever talks about that. It's always a very negative version of it. I mean, I don't think he's a particularly positive character, but they don't talk about his mysticism, his abilities, because he was pretty next level guy, if only in terms of his survival. It's amazing. So, Kirsten, what do you do these days? We're all going through lots of stuff. It's like 2016 happens every single day in some ways. How do you manage? How do you manage to keep your vibration up?
So I will say this. I have to preface this by saying I definitely had some kind of conversion with the near death experience. So I kind of came out of it, and this is very dark Scorpio stuff. So you'll have to excuse me. All right, I have 4 planets in Scorpio.
I'm a Scorpio.
Oh, good. So you'll get it. It's fine. But I kind of measure everything up against like, yeah, but you're gonna die anyway. That's kind of my new Zen is, yeah, but you're gonna die anyway. And it's not necessarily that I look at something bad and go, oh yeah, but it doesn't matter because you're gonna die. But I always kind of measure it against, Kirsten, one day you won't be here, so how much is that gonna matter? And I would say 99% of the time, it's like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter at all. So that's one of my biggies. When I get really stressed out or really just like upset about something, or I get really, before the hospital, I was into the politics in America specifically, to the point where, I'm trying to find money that I can give to Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton. I'm donating to all these causes, here when we had the big protest years ago against the Dakota Access Pipeline, I was sending money to the camps. I think I even sent money to Occupy Wall Street. I mean, I was I was very invested in everything that was going on, and it wasn't healthy, it was extra, and with Trump and the whole thing and all of that, I was so invested. And when I got out of the hospital, I was kind of like, it's the weirdest thing, but to me, it's more noise than something that I should be paying attention to.
Mhm.
So um, I got a little push, I think, from God or the universe, whatever you want to call it, being in the hospital. I got a little push in being able to kind of maintain my Zen. But one of the big things I do now, so I have my pendulum here, and I have, I've been putting up pendulum videos on TikTok and everything, YouTube, everywhere, because it's my new thing.
Mm.
So every single morning now I get up and I have a little routine in order to kind of maintain my energy, maintain my level. And the first thing I do, and this is like, well, you'll get it, paranoid Scorpio stuff. But the first thing I do is I ask, has anyone attempted to cord to me in the last 24 hours? So you'll see my pendulum, it's programmed that this side is no. If it turns to like this, that's a no. If it turns like this, that's a yes. So the first thing I do is I ask, has anyone attempted to cord to me in the last 24 hours? The answer is no. Has anyone attempted to put psychic hooks in me in the last 24 hours? The answer is no. Has anyone attempted a psychic attack in the last 24 hours? The answer is no. So if I get a yes, then I command that all of the cords, whatever's in me, they be removed. I will command the hooks be removed. And then I will ask, I'll tell the pendulum, please remove all cords, cut, sever, disconnect, strain, create, move all cords from me to whatever's corded to me, and from whatever's corded to me to me. The thing with that, it's better if you can be specific, but if you can't be, it's fine. It's fine. So once the pendulum is done doing that, I'll ask again, do I have any cords? And this time it'll go to a no. That has been one of the more effective tools at keeping other people's energy out of my space than anything I've ever done. Anything. And I had a particular problem with a couple of people that kept trying to cord to me at night. I mean, just days on end, I would check. Yep, there it is. They're cording. Yep, they're cording. Yep, yes. I was cutting cords consistently. Took me about 3 weeks of checking every morning, cutting every morning before I finally got a day where I asked if they were corded to me and the answer was no. So it took me about 3 weeks. So one of the big things too, I think, in maintaining vibes is you got to be really consistent. And ever since then, once I got the no, it was a consistent no. So they backed off. And I got very into, and I'm sure old school people are like, oh, Kirsten, you're late to the party. But I got very into Dion Fortune. I always thought Dion Fortune was a hack. And isn't that nice? And then I read a Dion Fortune book and I was like, all right, I'm going to try some of this stuff. And I started trying some of the stuff that she does, and it works. So I'm now the biggest convert. I mean, maybe she's still a hack, but it works. So one of the other things I like to do, and this I learned out of Dion Fortune, she has you maintain your aura twice a day. So the way that you do that, and in the book she's claiming, it keeps bad energies away, it keeps entities away, it keeps illness away, all this stuff. That's what she claims. So the way that you do that is you stand straight up with your arms at your sides. You picture your aura around you in an electric blue. And an interesting thing I've noticed is it will, for me, when I first started picturing it, and I'm pretty good at, visualization, it would be like this. It would be kind of moving in this really, at the time I didn't realize it was kind of an erratic thing, but it was. So you stand there, you picture it, and as you picture it, it gets brighter and brighter and brighter, this beautiful electric blue, really, really bright, really, really solid. And then you picture a white ball above your head, and that represents your highest self. As you picture the white ball, it gets brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter until the entire room that you're in is just blocked out with light. And at that point, you then visualize silver sparks coming down out of it and filling up your entire aura around you. So I started doing that really consistently, and I noticed I was feeling better. You're sensitive, so you go out into public places sometimes and you're just like, you can't, it's awful. There's energy flying around. There's, you can kind of, oh, that person's upset. This one's depressed. Da, 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 da. I don't notice it anymore out in public. Now it only gets turned on when I'm sitting with a client. So that was a really big game changer for me. And I noticed over time, as I was visualizing the aura, I've been doing this for about, I don't know, 2 or 3 months now, it stopped going like this, and now it's very calm and very solid.
Oh, wow.
Isn't
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So that's one of the biggies. And then also going back to my pendulum, so I also like to check, do I have any blocked chakras? It'll swing to no, because I've already done all this morning. But if I have blocked chakras, then I can check. You can check your chakras with your pendulum. You don't need to buy a pendulum, everybody, by the way. You can get a necklace on the end of a chain. There's nothing special about this, honestly.
Mhm.
But you can check, okay, my root chakra. Okay. Now, if it's going clockwise, that means it's taking in energy. So my root chakra is taking in energy, quite a bit of it at the moment, looks like. My sacral chakra, a little less, still taking it in. My solar plexus, same. Heart chakra, everything's taking in energy right now. Throat chakra, oh, okay, so you can see it like shifted. I don't have my elbow rest, so I'm trying not to wave this thing around.
All right.
So so I'm going to ask, is my throat chakra blocked? No. What's my throat chakra doing? It's putting out energy. Why? Because I'm running my mouth. So you can
Right.
see the pendulum has changed. And then you check your third eye, and the third eye is also putting out energy. So if it's going back and forth, if it's going side to side, if it's just sitting there like this, or even just quivering a little bit, the chakra is not performing the way it's supposed to.
Mhm.
So one of the big things, and I didn't get this from Dion Fortune. Where did I get this from? Oh, it was some nut. That's a terrible thing to say. No, it's some, like, I was like, this whole entire, I like to read a lot of weird obscure stuff. So it was this whole entire thing. And the whole thing sounded nuts. This lady was like, I channeled it from aliens and this and then and this. You're speaking to somebody who does channel things, and I don't know where they come from. But this one was kind of kooky. But one of the things that really struck me is she said, every morning imagine a pillar of light coming all the way down your body and all the way down through the middle and down into your chakras, which I've done. I'll do it before I do a reading, but I've never really done it every single morning. For some reason, it makes a difference when you do it right upon waking. So that's
Yeah.
another one that I like to do, is I like to imagine that pillar of light. And then I just tell my chakras to be cleansed, cleared, and aligned. They're supposed to be the size and shape of a silver dollar. So I always tell them, make sure you're the size and shape of a silver dollar. I also do my dog. I do the king every morning. So I make sure the king is in a good space. I
All
don't
right.
know what size a dog's chakras are supposed to be, but
Right on. All right.
yeah, yeah. So that's one of the biggies. And I'll check a lot of stuff. I can check from here, I'll check, is my bank account in the best possible place that it could be right now? No. Okay. Everyone send money. No, I'm kidding. So you can ask about other things. You can ask about your relationship. You can ask about your money. You can ask about your business. You can ask about your job. And if you're getting an answer you don't like, you reset the energy. So, that to me is the foundation of really maintaining your own vibration, is the energy work. At the very bottom basement core level, I think it's the
Mhm.
energy work.
Yeah, yeah. I really, really began this work when I started to realize that I had some control over that. Right. I just get up 10 minutes early, and I was doing a lot of, meditation and kind of working with the light that you were talking about to fix some physical problems in my body and just shift everything. And that's actually when I started making YouTube videos soon after that, because I
Mhm.
realized, like, you can change the energy.
Yeah.
You can sit there and focus on your goal and feel really, really happy, and you go to work and you are that much happier, right? You are that much easier to get along with, which of course means you get more work, right? So we have more power than I think we know. And but it does have to be active. It's not just going to happen. And I think
Yeah.
that's one shift that the new earth sort of idea has brought in, is that everybody can shift the energy. Everybody, I don't know, care who you are. It might even be just a very subtle thing, like, yeah, well, just do this small difference in your life and it will make all the difference. It's revelatory, I think, that we can now access these shifts, and necessary. As what we're going through now, what you and I are going through just in terms of being readers, is pretty intense business. It's intense.
Yeah.
You were also mentioning before the show how you do not watch much politics right now, and you don't read as much on certain people.
No. I stopped watching the news. Like, I literally have not seen a news broadcast in probably 8 to 10 years.
Wow.
And I, believe me, I'm very well read because of that, because I don't, the vibes of, I don't know how to put it. First of all, the people that are delivering the news, they all have their own vibes.
Yeah.
And then they're usually delivering up bad news. Like they usually it's all bad, 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 bad. Oh, here was one good thing that happened, bad, 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 bad.
Yeah.
And it makes you, I think it can really start to paint the way that you see the world. Oh, it's all bad. Oh, all these bad things happen, so everything is bad. You internalize so much of it. So I shifted into reading the news. Primarily right now I'm reading The Guardian, and the Washington Post, and then there's a bunch of other little publications. I love Under the Desk News. I love Under the Desk News. I think they are amazing, and they're on TikTok. There's nothing in print there. But it's legitimate. You know, it's legitimate journalism. It's not some lunatic in a tinfoil hat.
Right.
uh, and I think also politically, I don't know why we're in the broken record timeline, but I am so over it. I mean, it is just like Trump, 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 Trump 2016, Trump 2020, Trump 2024. I don't want to wish death on anybody, but somebody stop this guy. Like please just stop. Because if I have to do Trump 2028, I'm moving in with you. Like you get ready for a house guest because I'm not doing it.
I feel you, and you're welcome to come. I don't think you'll be the only one sleeping on this floor. But yeah, no, it is really, really, I just find like I still do it, but the vibration for political work is like way, way, way down.
It
The vibration for channeling the universe is way up here. The problem is that people do live on Earth. They do have these issues and these things that they need to work through. But it's like try to be in both of those vibrations at the same time is really work. It is
Mhm.
really a conscious, this is Monday, I'm doing this, right? And this is this day where I'm going to drop down into this. And yeah, I feel you. It's just last week I was kind of got to the point where I just don't have that anything else to say about this guy.
Yeah,
He just it's all there, and
exactly.
I do perceive that it will go away, but it's just this the shift is very upsetting. I think that a lot of people are reacting to it in a really good way. But it is that darkness that's part of the shift. We're looking at our shadows, and that's a heavy material. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
it really is. And also, I think with Trumpy, you know, I there's a lot of vitriol that goes this guy's way, which is also not healthy. So I'm I'm fine with information, getting information and giving information, but I can't jump on board of like, oh, he poops his pants. Like there are very nice people in the world that probably poop their pants. Like, you know what I mean? So like, let's not shame him for that kind of stuff. I get it. You don't like the guy. He's terrible. He's a wannabe fascist. I get the whole deal, but there's a certain vibe that kind of goes along with political stuff, not just Trump in particular, but at this point in the US, it's political stuff. It's very I pick my team, you pick your team, and let's bash the other team. And I cannot get down on it. I'll bash. So listen. I will bash somebody. I can be a nasty, nasty lady. Like I can, if I get mad enough, I will go to the mat. I've gone to the mat on Nancy Pelosi quite a few times. I've called her some very inappropriate names, but I can't live there. Do you know what I mean? Like I can vent my
Yeah.
anger, my frustration, and I think everybody should, but you cannot live there. It's just so unhealthy.
Yes. Yeah, we do. I mean, I did have to go, well, Dave, what's Trump here to teach you? And, Dave, you can be a little Trumpy too. One thing about living in Australia is like, I realized like, I can be really an obnoxious, demanding American. That's like, my partner is Indian. He's just like, okay, get over the entitlement, Dave. You're not home now. You can't just start ordering people around and be demanding, it's not your country and your culture yet. So I did become Australian, but along the way, I really had to go, well, is there a peaceful response to this? Is there a way that you could elevate the person you were arguing with? And
Mhm.
I find joking helps. right? You can come together, everybody's got a sense of humor and everybody can joke about that situation. It does help a bit. But yeah, I see where you're going, it just it is really lucrative, as you mentioned, to read on certain political events. It is good and useful in a lot of ways too. I'm not at all against that, but it does have this heavier vibration. Understand, everybody, when people are doing those readings, they are really working. They are really going through some heavy material. Especially if you're empaths. You know,
Yeah.
it's intense. So yeah, what any other things?
Trying to think what else. I think it's for me, really, yeah, this the woo woo I love. I actually saw somebody on, I think it was Threads the other day, like, don't call it woo woo, it's disrespectful. It's my pet name. It's my pet name for all the spiritual stuff. I like to call it woo woo. But aside from that, I think it's really important to put yourself in a material position where you're doing or you're in something that you love. So if it's music, like, do an hour of music. Like, whether you just want to listen to it or you want to create it or whatever. But my thing is movies. So like I will plant myself in front of the TV and it's like, okay, we're doing back to back. Although I did watch a very depressing one last night. Accidentally. Have you ever done that? The accidental depressing movie. You're like,
Oh
this
yeah.
looks funny. And then you're going, oh my God, what? And like I can't turn it off. Once I'm in, I'm in.
Yeah,
But I think materially, if your thing is outside, go outside. Like, give yourself an hour, if not a day, like if you can't do it in a day, an hour a week, but something that you are just vibing on that you love. I think also we get to a certain age and we get into this mindset where it's very, I'm an adult and I'm doing the adult thing, and like, set that aside and go do something kid like, childlike, whatever, teenager like, early 20s like,
yeah.
but something where you get that joy, because I think a lot of times we're not feeding ourselves joy, you
Right.
know, and you're responsible for it. I mean, yeah, it's great. You can walk along and find something cool, and that's great. But like at the end of the day, you have to feed yourself joy. I think that it came naturally for a lot of people when they were younger. And also when I was younger, it was just not as complicated. Everything is very complicated.
Right.
But yeah, you got to feed yourself joy. If it's movies, if it's nature, if it's music, and it shouldn't be work. It shouldn't be hard. Feeding yourself joy is not like, I'm gonna go for the 4 mile run and then I'm gonna sit down and make myself meditate for an hour and a half. Like, that's not it. That's work. That's work. What you're doing is work.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Great. Yeah. But movies, I'm totally down there with you. Although I have no problem sitting through a totally depressing movie. It
Oh my
works for me.
God. I am when I'm prepared for it. I thought I was getting, it was called 20th Century Women, the one I was watching last night with Annette Bening. And I was like, oh, I love Annette. Like, I am, anything that woman is in,
Sounds
I will
fun.
watch. Right. And so I get it. And she's like this 70s, she's smoking like a chimney. She's raising this kid in the late 70s. There's like punk vibes going on. He was going to the punk shows. Greta Gerwig is in it. So I'm like, yeah, I'm in. God, what's his name? The one that left Mary, oh my God, when she was pregnant. Anyway, I can't think of his name. But so I'm like, I'm going along, going along. I'm like, okay, she's raising a son. This is great. And then halfway through, she's like, I will die of cancer from the voiceover. I will die of cancer from all the smoking. And I mean, I just went from like here, like I'm watching this cute feel good coming of age movie, to like here. And the rest of the whole entire movie was like, we're going along, and then she'd jump in with another voiceover about her death. We're going along, and then another voiceover about her death. And I'm just like, okay, I can't take any more of this. Like,
Avoid this movie. Now, can you tell us a movie that like really brought you up?
oh God, too many to name. I am partial to really campy stuff. So one of my big go-tos is Death Becomes Her, which I hear they're remaking, which I'm kind of cringy about. But uh,
Yeah, that's a good.
yeah, I like a lot of campy stuff. What have I seen recently that I loved? Oh, you know what I really liked was Babylon.
Oh, don't know it.
Total, I mean, it's a 3-hour hot mess. Like the editing never took place. They were like, we made the whole movie, let's put the whole movie out. But I'm kind of here for it. I rewatched The Queen's Gambit, which is not a movie, but
Mm,
I will watch anything with Anya Taylor-Joy in it. So um I think if it can make you laugh, you're on the right track. You know,
yeah,
if it's giving you those feel good vibes, you're on the right track. I sometimes, you know, if it's too violent, then it might not be the move. You know, I love old movies. I love old anything with Jimmy Stewart. I pretty much anything with Jimmy Stewart I think will make me feel good.
yeah.
I don't think there's a single Jimmy Stewart movie that I like, just his face. There's something about him I just find so comforting. His
I agree.
voice, you know.
Yeah, I agree. This is
Yeah,
really, really great advice. Kirsten, I want to thank you and for all your great work. I really appreciate that you were, one of the first. I think you really contributed a lot, and
thank you.
I just want to say thanks.
Oh, I appreciate that. I thank you for having me on and contacting me. Usually I hermit out. I'm like, no, I don't want to do a collab. I don't want to do that. I hermit out. You caught me on a really good day because I was like, hell yes, I'm going on David's show. I was super pumped about it. So I've been meaning to connect with you, and it's just like hasn't happened yet. But I'm
We
so
could
glad
go
that
like
we
this.
finally did. I
Yes,
know.
timing's
I
super.
know.
Yeah, yeah. Now, everybody, if you want to get hold of Kirsten, you can go to thirdeyechampagne.com and you will find all of her work.
You will find me there.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.